Hello, and welcome to the plays of the Zogho Stretto. Now, we've already looked at what Zogho Stretto means, and we've had a look at how you might end up in the crossing that the Zogho Stretto plays develop from. So let's just have a look at that crossing itself. We are here. Fiore does not say how we got here. Okay? We're both right foot forward, we're crossed at the middle of the swords. I think there's some pressure there, the points are reasonably threatening, and this is the first play of the Zogho Stretto, the crossing of the swords. Now, from here, Fiore explicitly says either person can do the plays that follow. Now, the next play, the second play, is entering on the inside. Okay? The third play is entering on the outside and controlling the arm while you pommel strike. Okay? And the fourth play is entering on the outside and knocking 4 teeth out of their head. He says so explicitly. And when they turn, you throw that sword around behind them and you throw them to the ground. Okay? And remember, I haven't taught you how to fall, so if you don't know, don't take this one to the ground. It's particularly nasty with that sword on the neck. Let me show you that from the other side, because that's the way it's shown in the book. So, from here. Okay, this is the crossing. I enter in on this side. This is the second play. I enter in on this side. This is the third play. If I enter in with both hands and knock 4 teeth out of her head, that's the fourth play. And if I throw that to her neck and continue, that is the fifth play. So they form a nice little block that you might want to go and walk through just to get them clear in your head before you come back for the sixth play. See you in a moment. Welcome back. Now, the sixth play and the seventh play are similar in that from the crossing, okay, you don't get to here, you go underneath and you turn this way. That's the sixth play. The seventh is you go over the sword and you wrap, holding the handle like this, and now you have control of their weapon and you have control of them. Okay? So 6, 6, you come in underneath, and 7, you come in over the top. The eighth play is part of a group of 3 plays that run into each other, 8, 9, and 10. And there is a little bit of a mystery surrounding the 10th play, and I have explained it in detail elsewhere, so I'll add that material as like extra stuff on this segment, so you can see the rationale behind why I do it this way. But in short, from the crossing, however we got there, you smash up those hands, and you wrap up the person, and you beat the crap out of them until your arm gets tired, with cuts and thrusts and whatever else. And then a miracle occurs, and their sword ends up on the other side, and you go in for your throw this way. And the way I do this is I smash up, and if I end up on the inside, it looks like this. Okay, and I'll do the throw this way. And if I smash up Zoe's hands and I end up on the outside, I'll be going here, smash, smash, crack, whack, and I'll end up doing the throw the way it's shown in the book. And I give all the justification for doing it that way in the article that goes with it, and you'll find that in the additional material. So, that takes us to the 10th play. Now, at this stage, it would be a good idea for you to have a break from going through things choreographically and see if you can find ways to get into these plays that are natural developments of the drills you already have. So, rather than me spoon feeding you a way of, well, why would you want to get into a specific play? unless you've bet a spectator that you're gonna get your opponent with this particular action, it doesn't make any sense. It's more important that you know under what circumstances you would choose to go into a particular play and how those circumstances are likely to occur in the natural actions of fighting with swords. So I think at this stage you should make sure you've got your masks on and go through maybe the Stretto form of first drill and see which of these plays you will naturally end up in which circumstances. Okay, that's a somewhat advanced kind of training, but I'm sure you're ready for it. Okay, go have a go at that, and we can come back for the next load of Stretto plays in just a moment. Cheerio. And welcome back. Now, the 11th play of the Zogho Stretto is really interesting. It is what to do when your opponent parries from the left. And it's an indisputable fact that from this position, it is impossible for either one of us to parry from the reversal side, okay, from the backhand side. We just can't do it, okay? So I think this is a separate thing where if for whatever reason, well, let's say we are in this position, and let's say I cut around on this side and Zoe parries, that's a parry from the reversal side, okay? That's a little artificial. Let's go to a categorically reversal type parry that you already know. So Zoe's in Denti Jingaro, and I come to strike, she's going to parry. As she parries, boom. If she beats my sword away, she hits me, that's fine. But you know from the plays of the sword in one hand, that's not what always happens when the parry happens. And I'm sure if you've been training diligently, there will have been circumstances where the attack and the parry got stuck together, okay? And I think this is what this play is about. So however we got here, my attack is parried from the reversal side and we get stuck. So I step in and I throw that pommel over her shoulder and I smack her in the head. Because, well, that's what you do, isn't it? From here, she parries and we're stuck. This is a Stretto-ish type situation because neither one of us is free to strike. So I step in and I push that pommel over her shoulder and then bang. It's very satisfying when you get it. Okay. You should practice that separately because the next one is a parry from the right. So go practice that and I'll see you when you get back. Welcome back. Now, the 12th and 13th plays follow on from each other, and they are what happens in the Zogho Stretto when somebody parries from the right-hand side. And you've already seen this in the Stretto form of first drill. So from the crossing, okay, as Zoe pushes my point away, that's a parry, that's a cover. I grab it and I smack her in the face, okay, that is the 12th play. From the crossing, as Zoe parries, I grab and I smack her in the face, okay, that's the 12th play. Then I drop my sword, step behind her and throw her to the ground with her own sword, that's the 13th play. And you can practice that, if you like, as a continuation of that play as it appears in the Stretto form of first drill. So go practice that. I'll see you in a minute. After the razzle-dazzle of the 13th play, we get to the 14th play, which is, it's a return to this inside wrap, this ligadura mezzana. So from the crossing, however we got there, okay, I enter in and I turn the sword. Boink. Okay? So far, so good. Now, the 15th and 16th plays, really interesting. They are the counters to this wrap. And in many other places in the treatise, we see variations on the 15th play, but the 16th is unique to the Stretto section. So let's do them in order. Now, from the crossing of the sword, Zoe enters in and wraps me up. Okay, now my counter to that, so as Zoe comes in to wrap me up, I hook her elbow and I turn and I break her arm. Okay, let's see that from the other side because that's how it's shown in the book. So from here, Zoe wraps me up, I hook her elbow and I break her arm. Okay, and you've already seen this exact same action in second drill. Now, this is a really useful thing to know if you're having real trouble with the fourth step of second drill. The alternative counter is at this point, as Zoe comes in to wrap me up, okay, instead of, if I can't, she's turning me this way. If I can't reverse that turn, I drop my point into her neck. And now, as she pulls my elbow that way, that drives my sword up into her own neck. It's a marvelously efficient play. Okay? Let's just set it up a little more comfortably. So we're here, Zoe is wrapping me up, I free this hand, catch my own blade, stick it into her neck, and now the harder she cranks my arm, the worse her position becomes. Yes? Mm-hmm. Okay, again. Yeep. There it is. So, let's have a look at that again. So 16th play, from here, Zoe comes in to wrap my arms. Okay, I fail to counter it, that in the way of the 15th, so I jam that into her neck, and now it doesn't matter how hard she cranks my elbow, it just makes her life worse. I'm not worried about the sword, because that shoulder is moving away from me, isn't it?
Yes.
Be gentle with your friends, this is nasty. So you can practice the 14th, 15th, and 16th plays in this way. The 14th play is the problem, and the 15th play and the 16th play are the two solutions to that problem. Okay? Go practice that, and I'll see you in a minute. Cheerio. The 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th plays of the Zogho Stretto do actually fit together in a kind of funky drill, which I'll show you in a minute. But before we get to that, the 17th play is just like our old friend the 14th, where from the crossing of the Zogho Stretto, we enter in here. Okay? That's it. Nothing more complicated than that. Why Fiore chooses to repeat this so often, I'm not sure. Perhaps it's just a really important basic skill to get that left hand in and wrapping stuff. Now, the 18th play is really interesting. It is what to do in a stretto situation when you have a reverso mezzano coming at you. The only situation I know of where that's likely to occur is after the breaking of the thrust. So we'll do it in that situation. So I'll attack, Zoe breaks the thrust, and there, coming to my neck, is a reverso mezzano. Okay? So the instruction is, I throw my sword at her neck, and it seems to work pretty well. Okay? And I continue from there into the takedown that we know. So let's do this nice and slowly from the breaking of the thrust. Okay. So have a look from the other side. So there's my attack, she breaks the thrust, there's the reverso mezzano, I throw that in. Okay? And from here, I continue to the takedown that we know and love. So, I would suggest practicing that on its own before we come back and have a look at the 19th and 20th, and then we'll put them all together in a funky drill. So, I'll see you in a minute. Welcome back. Now, we're about to look at the disarms of the sword, and they're shown in this order. So, from the crossing, there's the soprano torre di spada, the upper disarm, the mezzana torre di spada, the middle disarm, the sottano torre di spada, the lower disarm, and the I don't need no sword torre di spada. It's not actually called that, but you drop your own sword and you use your opponent's. Now, in my experience of teaching these, I find it best to pretty much go in reverse order, because the tricky bit is controlling your opponent's sword with your own sword handle. Okay, and we're going to leave that out and just go straight to this. Zoe stands there in posta longa. I grab the blade with my right hand, I grab the pommel with my left hand to give me the longest possible lever, and I turn it in the plane of the flat. Okay? I don't want to be turning along the, in the plane of the edge. I want to be turning across the edges in the plane of the flat, and I get out of the way this way. Okay? And again. So I grab it. This is totally artificial. This is just so you get the mechanics. I turn it, and I keep going this way, and I get out of my own way, and I end up holding my partner's sword. Okay, show from the other side. Grab it. There you have it. Okay, now how do we get there as in the 23rd play? Let me show you. From here, I grab it with my right hand, drop my sword, not onto your own foot, I'm just being gentle with the sword, reach in to the pommel and get out of the way. Okay, so grab it, drop your sword, reach in, turn it. All right? When that's comfortable, and not before, come back and we will do the 19th and 20th, 21st, 23rd plays of the Zogho Stretto, which is these disarms, the torre di spada. Okay, see you in a moment. Welcome back. Let's have a look at the disarms, the torre di spada. So, from the crossing, you already know the mechanics, but now you have to do it. Instead of grabbing the blade, you use the handle of your sword against the flat of your partner's blade, the flat. If it ends up on the edges, this will not work. Now, the first of these, the 19th play, and the 20th is the continuation. And I tend to catch that with my thumb just so it doesn't keep falling on the ground. But if you're training, for example, outside on grass, by all means just let the sword go. Let's have a look at that again. Fiore shows the sword drawn on the ground, so it's been dropped. So from here, I would imagine there's a degree of pressure there, so this is safe. There it is. And the other side. Okay. Practice that until it's comfortable, and then come back. Welcome back. Now, the middle and the lower disarms are exactly the same, only the left hand goes to a different part. So, the middle disarm, I grab the handle between the hands. The lower disarm, I grab the pommel. Okay? So the soprana is over, the mezzana is the middle, sottana is below. But the actual mechanics are the same in every case. Okay? So now what I would like you to do is practice the 18th and 19th, 20th, 21st and 23rd plays of the Zogho Stretto. When you've done that, come back and we'll put together a fun little drill that will combine 17, 18, 19 and 20. See you in a moment. Cheerio. We begin this drill with the breaking of the thrust. At the reverso mezzano point of the breaking of the thrust, we counter with the 18th play, and then we use the 19th and 20th plays to counter the 18th play, and then we use the 17th play to prevent the 19th and 20th. Okay? And it's called the 17 to 20 drill, although strictly speaking it should be the 18 to 17 drill. But, you know, that would sound silly. So, let's go through it step by step. Okay. First step is Zoe breaks the thrust. And there's that mezzano coming to my throat. Lovely. The next step is I use the 18th play of the Zogho Stretto to counter that. Exactly as we practiced. and you can continue to the takedown if you want. Okay? So he comes to thrust. I break the thrust, and as I cut, she throws that to my neck. Boom. Okay, and she can step around behind me and take me down if she wants. About time she has some payback. There we go. Okay. Now, my counter to that, no problem. As she comes in, I pick up my hands, I reach over, and I do the soprano tordi spada. It's very tasty. Again. Okay. Now, of course, Zoe doesn't want me to do that, so let me talk you through the moment where the change occurs. So, as she throws that to my neck, and I lift my hands, she shoots her left hand under her hand, that's it, and grabs my wrist and turns me. Yes. And then suddenly, I'm in this position. Okay? That's it. There we go. And that is the complete 17 to 20 drill. Let's have a look from the other side. Right. First, I break the thrust and cut the neck. Zoe counters that cut to the neck with the 18th player, the Zogho Stretto. Boink. I counter that with a soprano tordi spada. It does help having done it before. And she counters that with the 17th play. Now, that's a very useful drill for establishing whether you're properly in control of your movements. And it does take a while to get it smooth and fluent, and of course it's very cooperative at this stage. But that gives you just another way of thinking about these plays of the Zogho Stretto. They're not just these isolated actions that happen and then everything's over. They can play against each other very well. Now, at this stage, you have a complete interpretation of all of the plays of the longsword that Fiore shows us. He finishes the plays of the Zogho Stretto with a master standing in dente cinghiaro, and the text says he could be in finestra on the left or donna on the left, faced by 3 opponents. Let me turn to the correct page. With a cut or a thrust or things to throw at him. Okay? So, from here, what do I do? Okay? Basically, it's the textual reference that we use for the beginning of second drill. Now, I think the message here is, if all of this stretto-y stuff is just a bit too complicated, you can simplify your life enormously by simply parrying from the left. So he begins the plays of the sword with the sword in one hand that parries from the left. He then goes into all the complexity of the largo plays and the stretto plays, and then he rounds it off again with, well, you know, if all of that's a bit much, somebody comes to hit you, you just beat it away from the left and you hit them. You now have a complete interpretation of Fiore's longsword plays, and you have a solid grounding in the mechanics and the tactics and how it all fits together and how you can actually train it. In the next section, we will look at developing those skills beyond the rote repetition of drills and into actual skill development. And this is where it gets rather pointless to video everything, because the problems that Zoe and I might have when we are testing each other out will be different to the problems that you have. So what I'm going to do is give you a complete problem-solving repertoire, explain it with specific examples that we will set up, and then you practice, and sure enough, your skills will improve. So I will see you on the next class, and in the meantime, stay safe, practice carefully, and remember, Fiore loves you and wants you to be happy. Cheerio.